Bueller, Bueller, Bueller.
Cinderella story, out of nowhere, a former greenskeeper now about to become the Masters champion.
You want to play rough? Okay. No. Say hello to my little friend.
Dr. Jones, again we see there is nothing you can possess which I cannot take away. And you thought I'd given up.
These go to 11.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
I feel the need for speed.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, welcome back.
We're back. This is our second podcast. Thank everybody for the good reviews on the first podcast.
I am close to the mic, so hopefully you'll hear me this time.
Our sound problems are fixed, and we are rolling and ready to go. Today's going to be a fun podcast. We're going to do the movies of the 80s. 80s movies.
I was just a little guy in the 80s.
He was a little guy. I wasn't so little, but I wasn't that big either. But I think most of our movie love and movie watching experience happened on 80s movies.
Well, I think the 80s was one of those periods of time where, movies they're just abundant of good movies. Like, maybe it's just us and, since we grew up during that period of time, but I just think the 80s is kind of like, I don't know, just a lot of good stuff came out during that period.
Yeah, it did. And a lot of people say that the 80s is when movies started sucking because all the action movies and everything was blowing up. Even the bad action movies in the 80s are better than the bad action movies out now.
Oh, I agree.
Michael Bay. And, well, let's start with that. Let's start with action movies of the 80s. There's so much to talk about.
Okay.
48 Hours.
48 Hours.
Is the movie that, number one, I think Nick Nolte should have won an Oscar. And I mean that, for playing Jack Cates. That's an amazing, groundbreaking performance. And 48 Hours is the movie, for those of you who don't know, and if you don't know, you shouldn't be listening. Eddie Murphy, Nick Nolte, cop, con, buddying up to fight the bad guys.
Buddying up.
It's the first kind of, even though Eddie Murphy wasn't a cop, it's the first kind of buddy cop movie.
Buddy cop movie.
And it started a whole genre. And it also made a gigantic movie star out of Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, but did he also start kind of stereotype him out there in that period of time? You got 48 Hours, and you had Beverly Hills Cop. And,
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, he was the wisecracker. Whether he was a cop or a criminal or whatever, he was the wisecracking. I'm a big... Number one, I think 48 Hours is one of the best cop movies ever made. Forget about 80s or comedy or whatever. I think Beverly Hills Cop is awesome, though. I think it's a funny movie.
Yeah, as long as they would have kept it at 1.
Yeah, 1 was good.
We don't need 3 movies of Judge Reinhold. I'm sorry.
No, hey, I love Judge Reinhold, and he'll come up a couple times in this podcast. I like Judge. What are you talking about? No, I understand what you mean. Yeah, one movie of Axel Foley is enough. Let Eddie Murphy do other things. In Beverly Hills Cop 2, which isn't garbage, but it's not very good. It was directed by Tony Scott, who had just come off of Top Gun, and it looks like Top Gun. And I remember Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel saying he was so great in Beverly Hills Cop Part 1. He was a character. And Tony Scott has turned him into one of the jets in Top Gun. Like, he's just there to be loud and flashy. And,
right.
There's no character that Axel Foley isn't there anymore. And they're right. I rewatched it not too long ago. And it's not a good movie, The The only really great thing you can say about Beverly Hills Cop 2 is it's back when Bridget Nielsen was good looking.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, hey, she's good looking, and now she was on a TV show and had sex with Flavor Flav, and oh my god. But anyway.
That's how you know your career is really taking off.
Yeah, right. Yeah, is that good or bad? Well, I'm with Flavor Flav, but we have our own show, so I don't know.
Yeah.
No offense to Public Enemy. I love them, but wow, Flavor Flav, what are you going to do? Anyway, he was not in any 80s action movies, so enough for him. But no, Lethal Weapon, 48 Hours led to movies like Lethal Weapon, which I love.
Another buddy cop.
Yeah, and that, to me, even though all the great praise I just laid on 48 Hours, Lethal Weapon 1 and 2 are probably my two favorite 80s action movies. I love them so much. I just think they're so good. And they play off each other so well, Gibson and Glover.
Yeah, well, that's what you need. You need to have people who can play off each other.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, then there's no chemistry there. And just Mel Gibson's craziness, off the handle, lost his wife.
When we thought it was just an act.
Right. Is it, is he trying to, off himself, and then Danny Glover, I'm too old for this shit, trying to, reach retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a cliche started by Lethal Weapon, I believe, right?
I think so.
And then everybody, I'm too old for this shit, and
Yeah.
I retire in 7 more days, and I got this last case, and blah. Yeah. Except then, they started killing off the older cop. Like, 2 days from retirement, I can't believe I got shot. That kind of thing. But,
Yeah, but with those buddy cop movies, I mean, if you bring up the examples of those, usually that's passing on the torch, isn't it? Usually when you have the, okay, it's now the old guy's going to end up dead so that the young guy can step up and take the mantle.
Yeah, that's true. And that's back when Mel Gibson made a career out of getting tortured. He's tortured in those movies, in 1 and 2, and I don't remember 3, I didn't like it, but in 4, he gets tortured in Braveheart, and then he's always tortured. Now he's just tortured.
Torture.
Right, in a very different way. But no, I love the Lethal Weapon movies, and I believe 48 Hours begat Lethal Weapon, and I believe Lethal Weapon begat a movie that, when it first came out, I did not want to see, and my friends drugged me to it because they were dying to see it, because I hated this guy. He was on a TV show, and I hated him. I'm like, I hate the show. I hate him. I hate his stupid music. I hate his stupid commercials. And this guy is Bruce Willis, and the movie was Die Hard. So I went to see Die Hard, summer of '88. I was in college. Changed my life. This is one of the best action movies I've ever seen. And Bruce Willis was fantastic.
Yeah,
I became a big fan. I still hated Moonlighting and his music and the Seagram's
I watched
commercials.
Moonlighting. I like that. But no, Die Hard has kind of a special part in me because I was actually on a trip with my father at the time. We'd gone on his motorcycle. He was a biker, and we were driving up the coast of California and stopped at a hotel, and that was playing that night on the TV. That was the first time I saw it. Was on like HBO or something like that. And no, I loved it. I thought it was great.
That's fantastic. He was good. The smirking
Willis,
worked. Introduced us all to Alan Rickman. The great Alan Rickman. Who's still one of the all-time great movie villains in that movie. Hans Gruber. And Alexander Godunov. Does anybody remember him? The big ballet guy? Yeah, he was good. And, of course, the classic instantaneous movie lore line
quote
put into movie lore. Yeah, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah, you got to watch every new one they come out with. That's like, okay, what's he gonna say it?
And that's the problem I have. He didn't say it. I can't remember if he said it in part 2, which I like.
Yeah, he did.
Die Harder.
He did because
I love that. Was it when he did the planes?
Yeah, when he
blew it up?
Did the line of gas or whatever, and he pulls out the lighter and he's like, yippee-ki-yay, and then he's like the fire.
Okay,
and blows
I haven't
it up.
seen that in a while.
Yeah,
I love
the very
it, but I
end.
haven't seen it. See, here's my problem. It works so well in the first movie because they're on the walkie-talkies together, and Hans Gruber is berating him.
Mm-hmm.
What are you, some kind of lone wolf cowboy, John Wayne? And then he says, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker."
Yeah.
But in the other movies, just to say it doesn't mean anything. He probably doesn't even remember he said that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's one of those things. It's like, every Schwarzenegger movie you see has to have "I'll be back."
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like, okay, when's Bruce Willis gonna say "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker"? And
right.
In those movies, luckily he doesn't say it in every movie he's in, like Schwarzenegger.
No. But I remember, and this is not 80s, but real quick, in the fourth Die Hard, which why did they do that? They screwed up a perfectly good trilogy.
I like the fourth Die Hard.
No, the fourth is good, but compare it to the other three. The last one's a travesty.
That was trash.
And everybody agrees. Even he does. He said, I can't even. It's not even a Die Hard movie.
No,
it's
it
ridiculous. The only thing that makes it Die Hard is his last name is McClane. You know what I mean? It's I think I may be sick. No, it's horrible. But no, part 4 was good, but I mean, compare it to the other three. It's not any. But at the end, when the bad guy has him and he shoots him through his, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. No, it doesn't make any sense, But anyway, But no, Die Hard was. I stand by this. I've always called part 1 an action masterpiece. For that kind of movie, it is a masterpiece. I love it. It's fantastic.
That's sad though, because most people are women out there don't want to watch it because they think it's just it gets so much flack at being it's a guy flick, it's an action guy movie, and it's like, watch it, it's awesome.
It is awesome.
If you like action movies, you don't have to be a dude, just watch it.
My wife likes action movies. Hey ladies, Bonnie Bedelia's in it. She's currently on Parenthood. Well, the show's over now, but Bonnie Bedelia.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten Melissa to watch any of Die Hard's.
Really?
I have them all, and I don't have the last travesty one, of course, but I have all the other ones, and I'm like, you gotta watch Die Hard.
It's horrible.
You gotta watch it.
They're gonna make another one because he's upset with the last one. Just let it die. But I'm gonna wait when they're done. He turned 60 today, by the way. Happy birthday, Bruce Willis.
Happy birthday.
And
like you're listening, but happy birthday.
Right. Happy birthday. We have a caller on the line. Hey, it's Bruce Willis. He says thank you. But I'll buy the Die Hard box set one day. The fifth one will always be in the plastic. I won't even open it. There's no reason to pull it out.
Yeah, I'm glad I already have the box set of the first 4.
Yeah. The third one's great too. It doesn't get enough credit.
Oh, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And it's a great story. Yeah, it's good. But anyway, we've moved into the 90s now. So yeah, Die Hard. 80s action movies. Just real quick on that. I know he's a joke now with all the T-shirts, and he's gone batshit crazier than even Mel Gibson. Chuck Norris.
Oh my God.
Listen. Chuck Norris didn't do Die Hard or things like that, but he did 2 of my all-time favorite action movies. Lone Wolf McQuade with David Carradine. You ever see that?
No, I didn't.
It's unfortunately and sadly it begat Walker Texas Ranger. But he's a Texas Ranger, and it's rated R, so it's not Walker Texas Ranger-y. He drinks, it's violent, and of course he knows kung fu because all the Texas Rangers know that.
Well, of course.
And David Carradine's a bad guy drug runner who kidnaps his daughter. So on, so on, so on. But they do it and it's low budget, but they do it like a spaghetti western. And they film it that way, and with the music and the standoff, and everybody's sweaty and dirty. It's a really good movie. Lone Wolf McQuade, people, see that. And the other great action movie I think he did was Code of Silence from 85, 6. He was a cop in Chicago. Dennis Farina, before he became known to anyone. He was actually a cop in Chicago, Dennis Farina, and he played a Chicago cop with him, and fighting bad guys. And it's the first movie of the guy who did The Fugitive.
Okay.
And it's a great movie. So I don't care about all those other Invasion USA.
Yeah, he did all those type of movies.
And The Octagon was good, but it doesn't hold up well. But it's a good movie. Anything with Lee Van Cleef, I try not to bash too hard. But anyway, that's my Chuck Norris part of the 80s podcast.
Yeah.
I know he's become quite a joke. We would be remiss
I wouldn't tell him that, though.
Oh, no, I would. What is he, 73? I would say, oh, you look great. What? Invasion USA?
I
Love
never
it.
said you were a joke. No, never.
Top
never
Dog?
is a
Love
joke.
it. Obama? Oh, I agree. He's crazy. Whatever you say, Chuck. Whatever you say.
Just don't beat me up.
Yeah, please. Oh, my goodness. We would definitely be remiss talking about 80s movies without speaking, or 80s action movies, without speaking of the Mad Max trilogy.
Oh, Mad Max.
First one was 79, but we'll let it squeak in.
I see a Mel Gibson kind of thing going on.
Yeah. See, he was big in the 80s. And we'll get to some stars of today that had their heyday in the 80s. Road Warrior. What can we say?
Mm-hmm. I always got it mixed up. I always thought Road Warrior was the first one. When
Really?
I was younger. A
lot of people do because,
blended in.
believe it or not, Mad Max, the original, came out in 79, and for some reason, the Australian movie boom hadn't started yet. It was about 3-4 years away. And they overdubbed everybody's voices, and with American actors. They're Australian. And it played drive-ins, and it had a cult following, but never. It was the Road Warrior that actually brought America into the original Mad Max. It's just one of the all-time great action films. It's amazing. The stunts, the things they do, the story, the look. It was groundbreaking on every level. Would you not agree?
Oh, I would agree. Yeah, I agree. I think I was more kind of my Mad Max experience was more Thunderdome than anything.
Oh, that's great too, and a lot of people say that's the weak one. No, it's not weak. It's not as amazing as the other two, but it's a great movie. It's Peter Pan and Thunderdome. You know, basically Mad Max is Peter Pan. No, Thunderdome's the Thunderdome itself. I've heard a lot of they're on bungees and they're fighting with chainsaws. Yeah, exactly.
Badass.
Right. That's fantastic.
Like Tina Turner, come on.
You got Tina Turner. You got the cool theme song. Yeah, I love it. And then they gave us one big giant car thing at the end because that's what the others are made of. And those.
I think somebody got together and was just like, let's have a hour and a half long car battle.
Let's do it.
Let's do car derby. Let's make the Mad Max movies.
Yeah. 80s action. Do you have anything to throw into the...
There's so many things I'm sure.
Tons we could talk about. But
leave a comment. Let us know what we forgot.
Yeah.
We'll get to it at some point.
Yeah, all of you on our Facebook and YouTube pages and soon-to-be website, we hope. Yeah, leave any comments, anything we leave out, anything you want to talk about, anything you agree or disagree. Especially disagree. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to hear, you guys are crazy, Die Hard stinks. You know, that's what I want to hear. Part 5 is the best one. I don't want to hear that, but yeah, challenge us. Give us comments. We are looking forward to them.
If you just want me to call you a dumbass, go ahead and put those
Let's
comments.
do that too,
No,
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, go ahead and say action movies weren't good until Michael Bay. See what happens. We'll boot you out. You're out of here. Oh. All right, so what should we move on to next in the 80s? What would you like to talk about next?
I don't know what we got there. We
have so much.
So many.
Hey, let's jump into the deep end.
Deep end.
John Hughes movies.
Oh, you can't talk about the 80s without John Hughes.
John Hughes is the 80s.
He is.
He is my high school years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I
wasn't in high school quite yet. I think when I got older, I started to appreciate those a lot more. But
my friend Robert, after the Breakfast Club, started dressing like Judd Nelson. I started doing my hair like Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, I was Ducky Dale. That was me.
Am I the only? Okay, here's a good. Am I the only one who thinks Pretty in Pink is the bottom of the barrel of the John Hughes movies?
I love Pretty in Pink.
Yeah. It's okay.
See, I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's up there.
God,
I mean,
no.
I can't separate them.
It's. I just found it's because he didn't direct that one. He just wrote it. He handed over the reins. I don't know why, but the soundtrack's great. There's not a bad John Hughes soundtrack, but there's some about it I was bored by. I've seen it probably 10 times or more. Trying to, and I don't not like it. My thumb is sideways, I guess.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. There's something about it, and I was not a fan of the Duck Man. He was kind of a... Whereas Ferris Bueller was endearing, the Duck Man was annoying. I know. And that's the reaction I always
He
get.
so should have ended up with Molly Ringwald at the end of that movie. Everybody agrees. You know,
I don't think
threw
anybody should have...
Christian Swanson in there as a
Was she in there?
second prize.
I have no idea. I think anybody should end up with anybody except Andrew McCarthy. So I'm with you. I hate Andrew McCarthy. I always did.
Blaine.
He was kind of... He was Blaine. That's right. I kind of want... You made me want to see Pretty in Pink again. I want to see it. Andrew McCarthy, Weekend at Bernie's, all that noise. St. Elmo's Fire. Never liked him. He always looked like he was about ready to cry.
Yeah.
Whenever he was talking to somebody.
He was all pretty boy.
Yeah.
That's all he was.
He wasn't very good.
Pretty boy.
And a lot of people laugh at me when I say this, but I thought Judd Nelson was a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up doing crap and
Right.
didn't prove it, but I think he could have done better work.
Mm-hmm.
He was great. Everybody used to say, oh, the 30-year-old in Breakfast Club? Yeah, that guy. But Andrew McCarthy, it's always funny to me that they called him part of the Rat Pack. Or Rat Pack, sorry. The Brat Pack. Yeah, there was Peter Lawford, Sammy Davis Jr.,
Yeah.
Andrew McCarthy. And I always thought that was weird.
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. Frankie, baby. What's Andy doing? The Brat Pack. They called him part of the Brat Pack, but he really wasn't.
Nah, I wouldn't say
He did
was
Pretty in
either.
Pink and St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah.
He wasn't part of that whole... He did one... You need to do at least 2 John Hughes movies to be called a member of the Brat Pack.
Oh, yeah.
James Spader should have been called a member of the Brat, even though he only did... I'm a hypocrite, because he did one John Hughes movie as well, but...
Pretty in Pink.
I just like Spader. He was great in that, playing the slimy James Spader role that he did for years.
Yeah, that was his kind of go-to.
Yeah. If I had to... What's your favorite, John? Is that it?
Like I said, I can't really pick it. I mean, I watched Pretty in Pink a whole lot. You know, there's just so many good lines in all of them. I mean, even 16 Candles. I mean, you got...
That's a classic.
You know,
that's my dad's favorite.
Yeah,
he loves that movie.
You got the Dong Man. You
No
got,
more Yankee, my wanky. The donga need food. Yeah, that's great. There's
what's happening?
Married? Yes, married. Married?
But you know, Breakfast Club. How can you not love the Breakfast Club?
Anybody who...
Even Weird Science. Come on.
I love that. A lot of people say that's the weak one. Damn you. That's a great one.
I love it.
It's a comedy classic. I didn't toss off. Plus, you got the bad guys from the Road Warrior, and the Road Warrior bad guys are in there.
That's right.
Sorry, folks. I almost ate my microphone. I got so excited. I saw it go.
Get to see Anthony Michael Hall actually tall and
not a geek. Yeah,
well, he was. Still a geek.
yeah. That's never mind.
But he wasn't a small geek.
What is her first line? What do you little somethings want to do first?
Wankers or
is that wankers?
Tossers?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I used to love that on the TV. Every time they'd like put it on television, they'd always like switch the words around. So I'm hearing that in my head.
Yeah.
You know, like
I don't
wax on the pimples.
Yeah, right. I never, since I was a kid even. I never watched movies on TV because I cannot stand the editing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a commercial break, whatever, I'll deal with it. I cannot stand an overdub, and it's so bad, know. Like, the sound is completely, I tell you what, that dirty son of a blank is, and it's really, I never have been able to do that, so. In that way, I guess I've seen certain movies a lot less because I won't watch them on TV. But no, Weird Science, for me, holds one of the funniest comedic moments of any comedy ever, is when they go to that all-black blues club full of old black men, and Anthony Michael Hall
all drunk.
Gets drunk and starts speaking like an old black blues guy. Remember
Doesn't even have a license,
Letha. License, Letha? Give me the keys! Right.
What are you talking about on the telephone?
Just call you on the telephone. And he's holding a cigar, This boy talking about on the telephone, man. Yeah. And that he kind of did a hint of that voice when they got high in the Breakfast Club, remember? And Molly Ringwald coughs it up. Chicks cannot hold a smoke. That's what it is. He was a funny guy. He was funny. My favorite John Hughes movie, I want to say The Breakfast Club. So much. Or 16 Candles, really. I got to go with Ferris Bueller. I know that's the big one, but man, I tell you what, that is a laugh a second. A second.
Man, it's always a classic.
Oh my God. And I mean this. I don't say things lightly here when I speak of movies, but Jeffrey Jones, Principal Rooney, should have had an Oscar nomination. I'm serious. He was so.
Comedies don't get Oscar nominations.
I know. Kevin Kline broke that mold. I couldn't say that. 2 years later, by the way. No, he's just that performance is brilliant of Rooney. You know, when he's on the phone and he sees the time changing on Grace. It's hilarious. Yeah, it was good. I guess Ferris Bueller for me, and then probably a tie for number 2 is Breakfast Club and 16 Candles.
Yeah.
I can't pick one over the other.
Yeah,
and then probably Weird Science is next.
Yeah, Weird Science was great.
And let's not forget I guess we're talking favorite John Hughes teen movies. Because he also wrote and directed in 1987 Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, one of the funniest.
He did Uncle Buck, too, didn't he?
Oh, God, Uncle Buck.
Yeah.
My favorite John Candy movie and comedic performance. I love it. Love it. Yeah. I miss John Hughes, man. I mean, even though he wasn't, that was when I heard he had a heart attack. Didn't it feel like you lost an uncle?
Yeah.
Because we grew up with him, and he spoke to us, and he was cool.
He knew how to do those teen movies. And I don't know, he knew how to tap into that type of. I mean, it's 90s, but even Career Opportunities is one of my all-time favorites by John Hughes.
That's a hidden treasure.
But he knew how to do those type of movies.
Yeah.
And
it was sad to hear and it was sad that it didn't get a lot of, oh my God, John Hughes is dead. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, I mean, he
there should have
defined
been
a whole generation. I mean, the Brat Pack was pretty much because of him.
Yeah. Molly Ringwald was on the cover of Time magazine during that time because of John, because she, through her, he spoke to a generation, And I remember on Saturday nights I would go to my girlfriend's house when I was 16, and her parents would cook dinner, and we'd always rent movies. And we would rent The Breakfast Club every stinking Saturday when it came out. And I owned it at home, I recorded it, but we were always renting it. And I remember one time we had rented it so much that it just became, so what do we, because we would always rent 2 to 3, and I'd be over there at like midnight, and so what are we renting tonight, guys? Well, okay, of course Breakfast Club, and then blah and blah, So it was like, it was a staple, and that's probably most people's go-to John Hughes movie, because that speaks to every aspect of teenage, angst that you can come up with.
Throw everybody in there.
Yeah. The geek, the recluse, the jock, the criminal. And, of course, the late, great Paul Gleason, who played the dean. I can't remember his name in the movie. Why can't I? In Breakfast Club, the guy.
Oh.
The adult. What the hell was his character's name? Forget it.
Oh, man.
I know, it's terrible.
And I know if I go through all of Jen Nelson's lines, I know I probably... Skinner? Principal Skinner? Skinner?
No.
No,
Skinner, that's, isn't that the principal on Beavis and Butt? I don't know, we're getting off track.
Yeah, we're getting off
track. Sorry, folks.
We
forgot we're doing a show here. But anyway, John Hughes owned the 80s, and I shaped a lot of my teenage years to John Hughes soundtracks. I would take lines from his movies and make them my own, and I'm glad you said that. I'm like, great. Don't watch The Breakfast Club. I stole that line.
Tell my wife all the time, get in the kitchen and make me... No.
Oh, Some Kind of Wonderful.
Some Kind of Wonderful.
Wait a minute. Get in the kitchen. Oh, the pot pie. I got it. I was like, wait, what line is that? I got it. Shut up, bitch. Go fix me a turkey pot pie. That's not what he says to his wife, folks. I'd be a solo podcaster here. Some Kind of Wonderful is a great one with Eric Stoltz and Elias Koteas is the punk rock guy, and Leah Thompson and Mary Stuart Masterson.
Yeah.
The only problem with Some Kind of Wonderful, who would pick, at least maybe this is just my preference, because I know Leah Thompson is a beautiful girl.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like in a woman is Mary Stuart Masterson in that movie. And how could he not? Well,
I think he did that a lot. I think Pretty in Pink had that kind of aspect as well, because, Molly Ringwald is trying to hook up with Anthony McCarthy's character and leaves kind of Ducky Dale in the shadows.
Yeah.
Where I think most people who actually like the movie, agree that she should have ended up with him. And Some Kind of Wonderful, you're kind of rooting for. At least I was, like you, was rooting for the Mary Stuart Masterson character
like,
the
see
whole time.
See it!
Like, why?
You
why?
idiots!
She's,
yeah.
No. You want her.
Sell your college money to buy Leah Thompson some earrings?
I know. What's up with that? No.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a $5 drumsticks and Mary Stuart Masterson would have
been
all over you.
Buy her the new Psychedelic First friggin' album. She's great. Yeah. No, that was a great movie. John Hughes. I think in the 80s he did no wrong. Everything he wrote or directed was just,
that was
and
gold.
it was a big part of my life. A big part of my life. I learned a lot of new music through his movies, and I remember listening to the soundtracks of his movies, driving around in my car. Yeah.
Yeah, he brought me into OMD. So
yeah.
Would never known about OMD if it wasn't for John Hughes.
It was funny because they were huge in England at the time, and then that broke them here, and then I wasn't a giant fan, but they were good. Yeah. I was more Psychedelic Furs, like I just brought up, things like that. That's why I was so excited. Oh, Pretty in Pink! They made a movie out of the song. This is gonna be amazing.
Like I said, I was young during that period of time, so I was probably still listening to Weird Al.
I know. Well, things happen. Well, I guess John Hughes leads us to 80s teen movies. We should keep talking. One of my favorites, and I think is as good, and no offense, John Hughes, but more artful than anything, as good as anything John Hughes has done, is Risky Business. Introduced the world to Tom Cruise dancing in his underwear. Of course, for some reason, that's the only thing people remember.
Yeah, it's the most iconic.
That's the movie that Tom Cruise danced in his underwear.
Yeah. Not having sex with Rebecca De Mornay.
On
Subway.
On the subway, not dumping the Porsche into the Lake Michigan. The
whole ending, trying to get the house back together.
Yeah, not the great, where he becomes a pimp and gets into college because the guy liked his, is what he's doing. I mean, come on, it's shot artfully. Tangerine Dream does a great score, which I have, of course. It's a great film that, for some strange reason, has been forgotten. And I love.
Though everybody knows it. I mean, if you see the whole iconic scene of, it doesn't even have to be Tom Cruise. It could be any movie, any TV show, but the scene, someone going across the
sliding across
the thing in their underwear, wearing dark sunglasses. Yes, Tom Cruise Risky Business. That's
a good way to put it. Nobody's forgotten it.
Yeah,
everybody knows it, like you said. But they've just, I mean, they still talk about John Hughes movies when we're talking 80s teen movies. John Hughes movies. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which I'm going to bring up in a second. Don't you give me that look. And Say Anything with John Cusack with the In Your Eyes boombox. Nobody, there's no more talk about Risky Business, and I think it's just a masterpiece, and it's so funny, and it's, to this day, the only time I see Bronson Pinchot and laugh at him because he's actually good. Yeah, I hate that guy. Hate you, Bronson Pinchot. You will never be a guest on this podcast. I'm sorry. If we do a Risky Business reunion special, he is not invited.
I liked Perfect Strangers.
Folks, this will be the end of our podcast. Cousin Larry. Oh, Christ. Anyway. Hold on.
So we just lost in Pinchot as a listener too.
There
Bruce Willis.
And that Mark Lane Baker guy can stuff it too, the other cousin Larry. I never liked him either. At least he did a movie with Peter O'Toole. One very good movie. So I mentioned Fast Times at Ridgemont High, one of the all-time great teen movies, full of great performances. And Bill gives me this face. And I'm going to ask Bill now live. Bill, what was that face?
I love Cameron Crowe. I think he's great. Most of his movies I liked. I honestly remember liking Ridgemont.
What? Like what?
Liking it.
Oh,
the
Fast Times.
Fast Times.
Mm-hmm.
I remember liking it through the 80s. I actually recently showed it to my wife and spent the entire time with my mouth open. I could not believe that I was showing her this movie. It's just filled with statutory rape and
well, that's true, but she lied in his defense. She told him she was 18.
I don't know. There was just a lot of
Roger Ebert had a problem with that scene too.
Stuff through that movie that I didn't remember. I mean, I remember loving Sean Penn, and I think still his character,
an iconic character,
was great. But I didn't remember all the other stuff that was going on around him, hitting himself in the head with a shoe, and ordering pizza in the middle of class, and the stuff that I remember really enjoying. But everything else just really.
You didn't like Damone?
Dominated how I felt about the movie after watching it. Yeah.
Oh.
One more second and I might have even snapped that disc in half.
Really?
That's how
holy
bad.
For holy.
I watched it and was like, I can't believe I actually liked this movie when I was younger.
Wow. That's still one of my.
Yeah.
And look, is it great filmmaking? No, it's not. No offense to Amy Hecklering, who went on to the not so good Look Who's Talking trilogy. Mm-hmm. There, we got that out. Let's not talk about that in our 80s movies. But no, it's not, particularly like I just spoke of how Risky Business. Mm-hmm. It was artfully directed and shot, and lighting and camera angles and style. Fast Times doesn't have a discerning style. She points and shoots, and some of the takes could have probably been done again and better. But I don't know. For me, it's one of the greats. It's. Yeah. I think it captured.
I think it was his first movie, and I'll give him credit.
Well, he wrote it. He didn't direct it.
Yeah, I'll give him, being his first writing movie thing. I forgive him for that. But at the moment, it's probably my least favorite Cameron Crowe story.
Did you see Elizabethtown?
I loved Elizabethtown.
Folks, again,
I'm gonna throw this this out there.
Okay, this is fun.
My wife's sister, Rebecca,
gave me
the best description of that movie that I've heard ever. As a love story, very mediocre. It's a very mediocre love story.
I would say you just overrated it.
What it is a very great movie about dealing with death.
I understand that that's what that movie's about, but I didn't.
But most people don't. Yeah. Most people focus on the love story,
and
it's a mediocre love story.
Yeah.
It's the pixie fairy, whatever the term is that the movie donned. Kristen Durst's character in it. I can't remember what that's called, but
I don't.
Very mediocre love story, but it's a beautiful story about death. And
do I need to reevaluate it? I've seen it one time.
I would.
I thought it was awful.
Look at it as that. I mean, if you're looking at it as it's Orlando Bloom just trying to hook up with Kristen Durst and that little wackiness,
they're on a collision course to wackiness.
It's not a very good movie. But if you look at, Susan Sarandon.
Movie Alec Baldwin for a second.
Brilliant. And just dealing with the loss and. Even when you get to the end and Orlando Bloom's finally, dealing with the death of his father. And I think if you look at it that way, I think you'll appreciate that movie a lot more. And I still, one of my favorite quotes from that movie is, if that didn't happen, it would be something else. If it wasn't this, it would be something else. That always resonates with me. I
Yeah.
keep that always in the back of my head whenever I feel like, okay, life is crap. I can, well, if it wasn't this, it would be something else.
Right.
So,
Okay, well, all right.
give it another shot.
You're hearing it live, folks. I'm going to give it, because Cameron Crowe is a director I love, I'll give Elizabethtown another shot. I'll keep my opinions until I see it again.
Was Vanilla Sky, and that's probably also because I love Open Your Eyes so much.
I was going to say, yeah, and it's exactly what you said there, Bill. It's not that Vanilla Sky is not a good movie, but it's the same thing. He didn't do anything different. The one great thing about it is, for me, hey, Kurt Russell was in it. I love. You can put Kurt Russell in anything. I'm like, hey, at least Kurt Russell was in it.
You're gonna find out Kurt Russell and especially Sean Penn if it's in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sean Penn.
Anthony is not gonna have a bad thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. God, that movie is Oh, hey, it's Sean Penn. I like that. That's a good movie.
Brilliant.
Right. One of the best films I've ever seen. Anyway, we're in the 90s.
But that's
again.
90s.
Yeah.
Let's jump in the time machine, the DeLorean, and go back to the 80s.
Oh, hey! He gave us a segue. Here comes some more discourse, folks. Back to the Future. Go.
Wonderful. How could you not like Back to the Future? Go ahead and give us your reasons, Anthony. Because you're wrong. No, go ahead.
A long time ago, back in 1985, right?
Uh-huh.
Myself, my best friend, my girlfriend, and about 5 other people excitedly went to the Northgate Mall Cinemas in Decatur, Illinois. Got our popcorn and our Zuzus and Wham Whams and sat down, excitedly awaiting the beginning of Back to the Future. It started, it played, it ended. We left. There was a burger place around the corner. We ate, full of excitement and reverie, and everybody's like, oh man, the great blood, oh my goodness, hey, Anthony, or Tony at the time. Tony, what'd you think? I was bored. I don't know what it was, and I've seen it, of course, at least 3 or 4 times throughout my life. Get a little older, try it again, even though that's when I should have loved it the most. I was 15 at the time. Don't add that up, folks. You'll get my real age. I don't know. Robert Zemeckis, the director, is not a director I like, and but he's done a couple movies that I like a lot, actually. For me, Zemeckis is a director that his movies are really noisy and loud. A lot of stuff. Everybody's yelling, and things are happening. Not in a Michael Bay annoying way, but he's not a bad director. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. I think sometimes in Zemeckis movies, the atmosphere might overcome the story. If that makes any sense at all. If you know Robert Zemeckis, you know what I'm talking about. Like I thought Michael J. Fox was fine. I thought hey, Leah Thompson again. I love Crispin Glover.
No,
he's good in anything.
Well, I wouldn't say anything.
Well, I don't mean he's good in anything, but it's good to see him in things. He's always like this. Remember when he kicked David Letterman in the face?
No.
Oh my God!
I remember hearing about it.
That was horrifying. Yeah, he was on something. Anyway, that was 80s, so I can bring that up. And Christopher Lloyd, of course, an iconic character in movie history. What was his last name? I only know Doc.
Doc Brown.
Doc Brown, and he was great. I don't know. The movie just kind of doesn't do it for me. There's one great scene, in my opinion, at the end when he's playing the guitar and duck walking on stage. Michael J. Fox at the dance, and then you see one of the musicians go backstage and grab a phone. Yeah. Chuck Berry. it's your nephew. I just saw something. Yeah, I thought that was clever. I'm not into the whole McFly. Hello, I never really. It just didn't. I don't know. There are some that get biased. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, that don't latch on to some people, and I've just never. And I've seen all 3 Back to the Future movies. I like the Old West one, but I don't ever need to see it again. I hated the second one. I just think it's okay. I don't not like it. I shouldn't say that. It's just kind of I'm not on the bandwagon. It's not a bad movie. It's just it didn't get to me. I've never been a Back to the Future fan.
I always loved them. I thought they were great. I think I agree with you. I think some of the sequels were, the second one was, let's do the first movie over, but in the future.
Yeah.
And not to say that the third one wasn't, let's do, the first two again, but make it a Western. But I think the first one's still iconic.
I agree with that.
It still resonates. It's one of those movies that still, I think, resonates with kids today. Like, you can show it to the kids today and they'd still enjoy it.
I agree.
They're not going to be like, why are you showing me this old movie, you old fart? Type
Why are the kids talking like an old woman? Why are you showing this? I'm 15.
Kids today. It's the water.
Today they're trying to be
hormones.
Right, yeah, all the stuff they're putting in our food. Well, here
getting
on
fatter and older. That's what's happening.
On Robert Zemeckis on that same thing. Another 80s movie, classic to most people. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Nah, I feel the same way about Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Really?
I do.
You sure you just don't like Robert Zemeckis?
Folks, Robert Zemeckis touched me once when I was young, and I don't like his movies.
What did he do to you? Shot your dog? What?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. I saw Mommy kissing Robert Zemeckis underneath. No, for the record, he's done like 2 or 3 movies I like. I swear he has. I'm trying to rack my brain as I talk. I can't think of any. Flight with Denzel Washington from a couple of years ago where he was the alcohol.
Yeah, that was great.
He also did Forrest Gump and Castaway. I hate them. Okay, anyway, let's move on.
Hate them?
I don't hate Forrest Gump. I hate Castaway.
Well, what can you do with 2 hours of one dude on an island talking to a volleyball?
Take Wilson and drop kick him up Zemeckis' ass. No.
And then they came across it later. Let's do a sequel of sorts and put him by himself in a freaking airport.
Huh? Oh, the terminal. No. Well, that's Spielberg, even though that's not a good movie either.
Tom Hanks is great by himself.
He is. No, he's not. Hey, Tom Hanks was a comedian. Does anybody remember that? We're going to bring that up in just a few minutes. No, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, again.
Yeah, but they were doing something different at that time.
No, that was cool. Loud, noisy. Same thing with it just kind of... And I'm like, all right, it's over. Bob Hoskins was in it.
Oh,
I love Bob Hoskins. Rest in peace, Bob. We lost him last year. But no, I mean, so you're on the same thing with Roger Rabbit as well.
I remember enjoying it. To be honest, I haven't probably seen it for many, many years. But I remember enjoying it. I mean, I love.
I do like. I don't hate the thing, and Roger Rabbit as a character was funny.
And during that period of time, I was still on the kick. I was going to be an animator someday.
Yeah.
So
well, then
anything
that
cartoon,
spoke to you in a million different ways. I don't know. I just.
No, and I tried it many different times. Again, one we're jumping into the '90s with Cool World. And then with, any of the Warner Brothers Space Jam or whatever they try to do.
Can I make a confession?
I
kind of enjoy it. I mean, it's okay. I enjoy it. Joe Dante, who did some great stuff. Yeah, let's just move on. I'm embarrassed that I even said that.
But I think in terms of that type of movie, adding live action with animation, I think Who Framed Roger Rabbit did a beautiful job. And since it was earlier than those two,
I agree.
I think it even speaks more to the quality.
Oh, I agree. Technically, it's fantastic. Back to the Future, technically it's fine, And again, neither of these movies are bad movies. I can't even say they're bad movies.
You were just dropped on your head when you were a kid.
Yeah, something happened. If it ain't John Hughes, I don't like it. Yeah, right. But, I just, and my wife Allison doesn't like Roger Rabbit either. America.
Yeah.
Or whoever is listening.
You guys are lucky your family.
Right, yeah. Yeah, if we weren't family, I'd say. Well, okay. Well, I believe that's all Zemeckis. Okay, on that same level, let's talk about another great 80s, great much beloved 80s classic.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got the same thing to say. You can apply everything, so I won't reiterate. You can apply everything I just said to Back to the Future and Roger Rabbit to this next movie, The Goonies. Go. Here it comes. I'm in trouble.
I need to find a rope.
Right.
And come on, how can you not like Goonies? It's the total growing up. Did you ever want to go on adventures when you were younger?
I did.
Now maybe like kids nowadays wouldn't, like, because they just stay inside and play video games all day, you know. And
My son likes The Goonies. You'll be happy to know.
excellent. See,
He's 6 years old, ladies and gentlemen.
teaching them right. It's just if you listen to the Oscar commentary, the podcast from last time,
Yes, I've heard our podcast.
I think a movie needs to withstand the test of time. Goonies, you could put that sucker on even 30 years later, and it's still highly enjoyable. I don't know a kid that can't sit in front of that movie and would just go,
Okay, I was 15.
Maybe you were a teenager at that
Right,
time.
I was
going,
15 for God's sake. But that doesn't matter. I love.
I wanted to go to Astoria. I wanted to find One Eye Willie's rich stuff.
Right.
I wanted to strap on in a trench coat and use the pictures of power.
He's steeped in Goonies, folks. Steeped in Goonies trivia. I don't.
$50 bill.
I knew three things he said. The last.
$50 bill.
And what is it? The Truffle Shuffle? Is that
Truffle
what it is?
Shuffle.
Yeah.
Cohen. Josh Cohen, I think that was his name.
I don't know.
Guy who played Chunk. He's now a big-time entertainment lawyer.
Yeah.
Skinny.
Yeah. Goatee. Yeah. And Short Round was in it. Hey. Josh Brolin
Dana.
before he became
Josh Brolin. Sean Astin before he
that's right.
became two Sean Astins.
Yeah, right. Oh, and the late great John Matusek,
Mm-hmm.
and what was her name? Throw Mama from the Train.
Oh,
Oh my God! Let's turn in our movie.
What was her name?
Turn in our movie cards. Joe Pantoliano,
Yeah,
Joey Pants.
Joey Pants.
Yeah, and who was the other one? There was one more. Was it anybody?
I think he was famous around that period of time, but for the life of me, I can't remember.
I haven't.
He always played.
Wasn't it Robert Davi?
Gigs.
He was the bad guy in License to Kill, the James Bond movie, the last Timothy. Yeah, I think it was Robert
It might have
Davi.
been.
Yeah. Shows you how much I remember the Goonies.
That was a great movie.
It's
And
okay.
I can still watch it today and still
I can
love
watch
every
it.
second of
Yeah,
it.
it's okay. And I felt that
Corey
way when I saw it.
Feldman?
Corey, that's not an argument to make.
When he was still good.
No, I know. That was. I know.
I mean, come on. Can't have the 80s without the Coreys.
I know. You're right. You're right. No, I'm not going to take up more time. It's everything I just
well,
said.
you should.
Well, no, I'm just
Great
saying.
movie.
I don't want to bore people by saying the same thing. But Back to the Future, Roger Rabbit, The Goonies. I'm sure one or two more will come up. Just missed me somehow.
There's the two movies that define that I can throw on that they've come close but haven't come out with a movie that has the same caliber. Goonies and The Princess Bride.
Good segue to The Princess Bride. And mind you, speaking on all of these movies, I'm not arguing about anything you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You can sit kids down, they can enjoy it just as much today, and these are enduring films, all of these movies. Just for me, you know what I mean? Some people hate Godfather 3, I don't. I'm sorry. Certain movies skip, and I wish I had better, because I heard myself explaining it, and I wish I had something better. Well, there's a specific thing here and a specific thing there, but there's not. These are just movies that they're all right, and I moved on. And and people the world over who have met me have no idea why I don't like The Goonies, Back to the Future, or Roger Rabbit.
Goonies I saw double feature with the Ghostbusters, another excellent 80s movie.
Come on.
The funny thing is, for years and years, I would explain the end of the Goonies. And there was a octopus. There was an octopus, and they get pulled under by the octopus when they're at the ship scene at the very end.
Yeah.
And for years, people called me crazy. Because no, there was no octopus in that movie. What are you talking about?
I don't remember.
Thank God DVD technology, because they had the deleted scenes. I must have been in a test audience or something.
Oh, did they cut it?
They cut it.
Oh my
God.
God.
So for years and years, people were calling me crazy, and finally when the DVD came out,
You're like, you sons of
I was like, you bastards!
That's
But
cool. No, I
that's
didn't.
my Goonies story.
I was gonna say I don't know Goonies well enough to argue, but I was like, I don't recall an octopus, so I just sat quietly and let you finish.
Most people don't.
Yeah,
but
right. Well, that's cool.
for
You
the
got
life
to
of
see
me.
a pre.
Finally.
Yeah.
I knew one other person I worked at a video store with who remembered seeing the octopus as well.
Really?
And yeah, and when the DVD came out, both of us were like, "Ha!"
Calling everybody.
Screw you guys!
Get the DVD right now and put it
Remember
on
when
the
I was in
insane.
3rd grade? No.
You called me stupid. You know your Goonies, my friend.
I know my Goonies. Love the Goonies.
Yeah. Great song.
Uh-huh.
A little trivia for the people who are listening. It is the theme song to our podcast, at least the first one.
Mm-hmm.
The theme to Goonies. Princess Bride,
Yeah,
you
Princess
brought it
Bride,
up.
yeah.
You start.
Princess Bride. It's, again, one of those timeless movies. So you can quote it from left and right. Brilliant
agree.
acting.
I agree.
Andre the Giant, Mandy Patinkin.
Hello, lady. I love that. Why is that the line that sticks with me? Yeah.
I'm totally blanking on her name. You would know.
Robin Wright.
Robin
formerly
Wright.
Robin Wright 10. That's sad that they broke up.
Now crazy House of Cards First Lady.
Oh yeah. Lady Macbeth.
Who else you have in there?
Billy Crystal and Carol Kane.
Oh yes.
You said Mandy Patinkin.
Mandy Patinkin.
Christopher
Couldn't
Guest.
miss Christopher Guest.
Chris Sarandon.
Six-fingered man. Just a lot of people in there that you can't.
Carrie Elways.
Carrie Ellis.
I sold him movies.
Yeah.
I sold Carrie Elway movies once. I won't get into the story and waste
What
time.
it's a beautiful story. It's fantasy. Fred Savage.
Peter Falk.
It's a beautiful movie, and it's again one of
It
those
is.
that you can set people down in front of, and they'll still enjoy it 30 years later.
I agree. Are you
gonna add anything to it?
Well, Alice, my wife Allison always gets on me about this. Why do you hate Princess Bride? I don't hate Princess Bride. All of a sudden, our listeners are like sharpening knives.
I know.
and,
It was like,
what the hell? Who hates Princess Bride? Let's get him. Kill the monster. I don't hate Princess Bride. Everyone, she's like, you don't like it? I do like Princess Bride, but
And that's where my foot's gonna be after this
right,
comment,
right.
right? No,
That's
go ahead.
exactly where he's shoving something uncomfortable. I don't see. Okay, let me preface this by saying I like The Princess Bride. It's a very funny movie. Great score. Mark Knopfler of the Dire Straits. I own the score. We own the movie. I could watch it probably once or twice a year. I enjoy it. Did everybody hear this? But I still to this day don't see the iconic pedestal that this movie became. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's a nice little movie. It's very funny. I never owned it until I met my wife.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have found it for $5 someday, sure, I might have picked it up. I might not have. I don't know. Certainly the last great Rob Reiner directed movie. Let's not get that. But I don't see it. I've never, all my life, I've had these arguments with many a girlfriend. Because I think it's pretty much every woman's one of their favorite. And I don't mean that in a sexist way. It's just a fact, and it's true. And I've always said, yeah, it's good. And they're like, what do you mean? No, it's great. It's a classic.
I think it speaks to many people. You have, it's a great fairy tale story mixed with, true love. But if even true love, this blessed
See, folks, I know it.
But you have so many different levels, I guess. You don't just have the love story between Wesley and Buttercup.
Right.
It's intermixed with kind of the, you have a love story of a boy and his father. Inigo Montoya trying to get the person who murdered his father. So you have also that swashbuckling aspect of it as well. But you also have the crosscut of beautiful grandfather reading to his grandson.
I like that. That's good. Because at first he doesn't want it. He's like, well, I'll stop. He's like, keep going.
All the way to ending to at the end, to as you wish. When his grandson asks him to come back the next day to read him another, to read the story again. So I think it speaks to many different people, not just yes, women like it because it's a beautiful love story between
And that's not what I meant.
Wesley and that. Yeah. But I think other people find it because it speaks in different layers to different people.
Yeah. And again, like we were just talking with the other 3 movies, I agree with everything you said. Just for me, and it's not on that level. I like the movie. I like it. America, please stop yelling. I like the movie. It's funny. I just personally had never. I mean, I guess as I get older, I see now that. Of course, it's iconic. You're a teenager, you grow up, and all the great. And it is an eminently quotable movie, and has some scenes that just I still laugh out loud when I see them. I'm the dreaded pirate Robert. I love everything Andre the Giant does was gold in that movie. But I guess for most of my life, I just said, it's a really good movie. End. Thin, you know what I mean? I didn't get I guess I'm warming to it as I get older, warming to the understanding. But for if I was asked to make a personal list of 100 classic movies of the 80s, of every genre, I would. That would not be on my list, but it's a movie I like a lot and enjoy, but it wouldn't be on my personal greatest, iconic, means a lot to me 80s movies.
Yeah, that's funny because it'd probably be up towards one of the top for me.
For most people,
like I say, Goonies and Princess
my / our ages, okay,
And I can always just go back, carry on with those movies. Goonies, Princess Bride, even getting into like Dark Crystal, Labyrinth. Yeah. I think Labyrinth
we'll
more
get
than
to
Dark
that
Crystal, but
in part 2.
And part 2. Yeah.
One more thing, and then we're going to sign off, folks, on part 1 of our 80s podcast.
It's been an hour. We've been talking for an hour.
Yeah. Well, we talk so much because our love is like a storybook story, Bill. Everybody get that? That's a Princess Bride. I'm just trying to prove myself to our listeners. All right. Well, that was part 1 of our 80s podcast.
So if Anthony didn't turn you off by all his hate towards great quality film,
that was really negative on this one. Oh my gosh! I'm sorry, America. Please tune in to part 2. On part 2, we're gonna get into a lot of different. We're gonna talk some Spielberg. We're gonna talk some 80s horror films. We're going to talk some Kevin Costner when he used to mean something to us.
So much in the 80s that we could talk about, and
might be a 3-parter. What do you think?
So please.
We get on 80s horror, we're never going to shut up. So and leave your comments on the pages. Let us know. Please be kind when addressing me, because I think I've made a lot of people angry today. And please listen to part 2. I might get you back on my side.
Pass this around. Comments. Share this. If you like what we're doing, please get us out there. We need you, your listeners, and we want to know what you want.
That's right.
So
because we have things coming, we're going to have things for you eventually. We're going to have contests, trivia, prizes.
Likes are all nice and good, but comments. I need ego strokes. I need to know when I'm not speaking up. I need to know when you're just like, Bill, you suck. Get off the microphone.
Don't worry, you're safe today. All the negative stuff's gonna. What? Anthony doesn't like what?
So comments, likes are good. We need comments. We definitely need your shares. Get us out there. If you like the podcast, share us around.
Yes. And that is part 1 of our 80s special.
Part 1. Please come back for part 2.
It's going to be a good one. 80s. We will see you at part 2, folks. And I'm Tony.
I'm Bill.
And we are out of here.
See ya.